Hello class, welcome. This is Mr. Portillo's science period. Hello class, welcome. This is Mr. Portillo's science class. We'll be discussing amphibians today. If you guys recall, last week we were talking about reptiles, and after finishing that discussion and that project, we are now moving forward with our next species, which will be amphibians. So we're going to talk a little bit about amphibians, and we're going to discuss what our assignment is going to be today and for the rest of this week. Sorry, I'm going to move this over here. Okay. So first off, guys, amphibians. Who in the class can tell me exactly what an amphibian is? Oh gosh, let's skip back. Let's read this. Hello class, welcome. This is Mr. Portillo's science class. If you guys remember, last week we were talking about reptiles. So after we finish that discussion and that project, we will now be beginning a new species, which is amphibians. So today we're going to be discussing a little bit about amphibians, and we're also going to be discussing about what our future assignment is going to be for this week. So who in the class can tell me any special characteristics, or who can tell me anything that they know about an amphibian? Maybe something that they know what an amphibian is, or maybe a certain definition of amphibian, or maybe a certain example of an amphibian. Well, to answer that question for you guys, an amphibian is a cold-blooded vertebrate. And as we remembered from last week, a vertebrate is anything with a backbone. So different species can all have a general backbone, but they can be classified as different species, as we see with this amphibian, which is way different than the reptiles we were talking about last week. We know that amphibians spend part of their lives in water, but also part of their lives in the land. So they start off in water as eggs and then tadpoles, and as they start developing their arms and their legs, they actually swim out of the water and then move to land, and that's whenever they begin their life on land as their fully developed frog or toad life. And that actually helps me move into my next subject, which is the three main groups of amphibians. So our most common one is going to be frogs and toads, guys. That's pretty much something that we all hopefully should know, but there is a difference between the two. Nothing too crazy, nothing too scientifically diverse, but frogs and toads will be different based off their size, their location, and kind of their skin texture. So frogs will be more of a moist and more of a slimier texture due to their environment and to where they're located, and then toads obviously the opposite, more of a scalier, harder, and also will be bigger in size. And that's just due to their environment, maybe harsher conditions or maybe more drier conditions. Salamanders as well, and also caecilians, which are limbless amphibians, and that's one of the ones that we're less common with. We'll see less in the environment, but it's also we still need to know about them because they indeed are an amphibian. So guys, these will be our vocab words for today, or for this week I should say. I want you guys to get familiar with these because later down the week we'll be discussing more about these exactly correlating to the amphibians. And then also, we'll be needing to use these words when we're talking about our next assignment. So, quick rundown, we have amphibian, food web, habitat, caecilian, frog, newt, salamander, tadpole, and the toad. So, as we discussed the three different orders of amphibians, guys, the scientific terms that we need to be familiar with, Anura. Anura is going to be the frog and the toad. That's going to be the order that those classifications fall under. Equidata, that's going to be salamanders. And then also the Gymnotheana, that's also going to be the caecilians. So these won't be tested upon, guys, but it's just our general knowledge that we need to know that there is different orders with these three, and we need to know which ones will be in each different order, just for our answering questions moving forward, and also for a greater knowledge and activating a deeper understanding of this type of species, guys. So the habitat of a frog is pretty broad, but it's something that could be zoned in upon a little bit more. But when we have our project, I'm going to talk to you guys about that here soon. This is your guys' going to be your main goal is to talk about the environment and the ecosystem that the amphibian of your choice is located in. So each amphibian will be located in a different kind of environment or ecosystem, but it's important that you figure out and you kind of locate what is unique about that certain type of ecosystem. Why is the frog maybe a certain type of color? Maybe why does it have a certain type of defense mechanism? Why um, why does it do the things that it does? So that's going to be kind of based on its adaptations and its evolution. And those aren't our vocab words for this week, guys. But if you remember from earlier in this quarter that we were talking about the evolution and the adaptations that certain species develop over a long period of time. And that's what helps them be the species that they are. So we're not going to be tested upon the different types of species, but I want you guys to dive into what really is unique about each species. And so when we know that their habitat, we know that they have survived in many different types of habitats, but they can be found in forests, woodlots, meadows, streams, rivers, lakes, ponds, bogs, marshes, swamps, vernal ponds, and even farmland. And I know you guys are thinking, there's so many different areas that they're pretty much found everywhere. And that's not necessarily true, but there is a general acceptance of these species kind of in a lot of areas. So your answers will be kind of broad, but they will be unique for that species, and that's what I want you guys to zone in on, okay? Sometimes you guys can guess, or sometimes you can guess where a particular amphibian lives just by looking at its adaptation. That's exactly what I want you guys to zone in on. Its coloration, its physical characteristics, and even its behavior. Because each species is different based upon its location and its actual lifestyle. So, here are those different types of species we were talking about, guys. So, the salamanders, which was the Caudata, these guys, this is an example of one of those. This is a spotted salamander. So this is one that you guys could choose for your assignment. The mud puppy, which is also a salamander, but it's just it lives in a lot deeper waters, and also, so you can tell, it kind of developed these small little weird gill things on the side of its head, and maybe that's unique towards the area, maybe because it lives primarily underwater. It still has that 50-50 development where it goes water to land, but some of these salamanders and stuff, they breathe differently. Maybe it's through maybe they have a different lung system, maybe they breathe through their skin, maybe they live mostly underwater, so that's why their lung systems or their breathing systems are different. That's what I kind of want you guys to figure out. This Archie's frog, one of my favorite. This is kind of what helps me. This is kind of what motivated me to do this assignment for you guys and to show you guys the cool characteristics, because this guy is known for living under rocks, and he's actually a lot smaller than what he kind of looks, but in his area he blends in really, really well, and he kind of almost has this cool, like, leafy, rocky texture where he kind of will hide behind these rocks or kind of nimble down, and he's hard to be seen. And one of the last ones, this is the Cecilia tentaculata, and so this guy has a weird bluish purple texture. So maybe if you guys choose this one as your species, you could maybe talk about why it is that type of color and what gives off those physical traits. So let me move myself over here. Let me follow this side. Let's talk about you guys' final assignment. So today, guys, you're going to be choosing an amphibian of your choice. Okay, guys. So those four were just a common example. Up on our Google homepage, I have the reference sheet of species that you guys can pick. It has to be one of those species from that list, guys. If you need to run by me, maybe there's a different naming. Sometimes, like, there's a general term could be like the bullfrog, but there's actually like different types of bullfrogs. So you could have an American bullfrog. So just make sure you run it by me if you have any questions. But yes, you need to choose an amphibian from that list, guys. You need to research information and key characteristics about your species. So that means using the encyclopedias we have in the back. There's a couple websites online that you guys could use. I have posted those on your Google homepage. You could use Wikipedia. We talked about this, guys. But remember, we're using the resources and the references at the bottom. If you need questions, if you have questions about that and you need to answer anything, you guys please run it by me, because I need you guys finding academic material on these species, guys. I can't have you just looking up willy-nilly information and just kind of jotting anything down. This needs to be you put on your guys' science hats, put on your lab coats. You guys need to really act like you're doing your research and finding out about a cool species that you like, and it's motivating you to do some future research. So if you have any questions about how you're obtaining that research, please let me know. But it is information and key characteristics. So over the next 2 days, guys, we'll be creating a visual representation. Remember, we talked about that. That's our poster boards. Remember how we get those lined up? We did that last week with the reptiles. It needs to be the name up top, picture. We'll print that out when we go to the lab later this week. You need to talk about its characteristics all around the side. Remember, it goes picture, it goes label, picture, and then all the information going around the side. So that's how we're gonna label. That's how we're gonna assemble our poster board, just like we did last week. Um, and then so after the poster board, we'll do a short presentation. But like I said, it's later in the week, guys. I need you today as your exit ticket just to please pick your amphibian and then do some key information characteristic research and show that to me. That's going to be your exit ticket to make sure I know you guys are on track for this assignment. And lastly, this is the stuff that needs to be included. If you want to wow me, if you want to for sure get an A, this is the stuff that you will include. But if you want to go above and beyond and really maybe try to even get some extra credit or really show me that you understand this project, you can even go above and beyond and add some more stuff that you find out. So for instance, the name, guys, you need to put the name. You need to put if it's a frog or a toad, salamander, a newt. Remember, newts also fall under that chordata with the salamander, and Sicilians in its own category. You need to classify if it's one of those, where it's at. Maybe it's New Zealand. That's where the Archie's frog's at. You need to talk about if you want to go more in detail. I did some research and found out it's in altitudes of 400 meters to 1,000 meters. That's some information you can add in there just to show Mr. Portillo that you did some extra research. What does it like to eat? Does it eat just bugs? Does it eat just flies? Can you find out more about its diet? What else does it eat? Like some tadpoles eat algae whenever they're young. Maybe if you found some stuff what they eat when they're younger opposed to whenever they're older, their habitat. So that's kind of a big one, guys. It needs to be, is it wetlands, riparian? Remember we talked about the different types of habitats out there. I need to talk about mountainous. Like what type of environment is it? Because that's can be your lane, your road to start talking about the next two things. So it's defense mechanisms. Why is it its color? Why is it poisonous? Where is it poisonous gland? Why is it poisonous to the touch, or is it only poisonous gland on top of the head? That's going to help you guys with this habitat. And the abiotic and biotic factors. That's going to kind of tie in all those last two ones. Abiotic, remember guys, we talked about is it windy, is it snowy, the factors that are non-living. The sun, is it not sunny, is it really dark, is it the conditions, you know what I mean? Certain things about that. And the biotic factors will be maybe its prey and its predators, living conditions, stuff out there that like, you know what I mean, stuff that it eats or stuff that it preys upon or preys upon them, like the Archie's frog is the one that I did the project for. It was my example that I had posted online, so you could see how Mr. Portillo assembled his poster board. But when I talked about the biotic factors from my poster board, I talked about how its predator, stuff that likes to prey on it, is it was rabbits, snakes, but also one of the different ones was a fungal disease. So actually, it developed this hard kind of rock skin because there's different type of fungus that's out there in the environment, and it's known for rubbing upon that fungus and then actually creating that disease that it gets in its body and then starts to slowly kill the frog itself. So talk about some interesting stuff like that, and maybe there's certain different things that you can find out, and that really shows me that you did your part and you guys understood this assignment. So if you have any other questions, guys, I'm going to let you guys use the remainder of this class to remember, pick your amphibian and do some research. But when you do those, when you have picked your amphibian, please let me know. And at the end of the period, I will go by each class or go by each desk and make sure you guys have started moving forward in your research and don't have any questions or any confusion about how to obtain that research. So yeah, get started, guys. I hope this is going to be a fun week for us. Thank you.